Hello, my name is Haley, if you don't already know me, but this is going to Kaizen and Leah, so there's probably no need for an introduction. But anyways, okay, this first video is going to be my synopsis of our first YTT weekend, so that would be October, 16th, 17th, 18th? No, maybe, I might be wrong. 17th, 18th, 19th. I don't know. We're just going to say, okay, it is 17, 18, 19. Okay. Anyways, we all know the dates. So this is my synopsis. I'm going to go slow. Hopefully I don't make this video too long, but I've got all my notes here in front of me and we're going to talk. So on Friday, we talked details about the YTT and I guess I'll go ahead and pull up some parts that really stuck out to me. So Friday is when we did a lot of studying the people who were involved in yoga, and we talked about the different other yogas, so Hatha, Anusara, and bowspring, and all that kind of stuff. And we talked about the key people who I guess I don't know if I want to say made these practices well known. I might be correct in saying that, but we spoke on lots of people. The aspect that really stood out to me, and maybe because it was such a topic on my mind during this weekend, was the John Friend and the Yogi Bhajan, only because of the ethics and all the stuff that we talked about. And I spoke with Leah personally on this, how can you move forward in a practice knowing that this human did these things? And in my mind, I'll speak on something that the focus that my focus was really on, and that is Kundalini Yoga and Yogi Bhajan, how he brought Kundalini Yoga over to the West, and the things that were claimed and were brought up that he had done. And I was really struggling internally because ever since I had started Kundalini, and I have been practicing Kundalini, it's such a powerful practice. I absolutely love the power and the transformation that happens whenever I do Kundalini Yoga. It is really, truly like a fast track to, I don't want to say like enlightenment, but just really a fast track to clearing out old and like finding your light and feeling your light and accessing your truest power. And so I really struggled with that whenever I learned the not so good things that that person was doing. And so Leah covered it really well as far as like the message that I took away from Kaizen and Leah, as far as that was like, go back to the heart, go back to the center of the practice, stripping away, I'm getting chills. So this usually means I'm right about what I'm talking about. So it's like, go back to the heart, go back to the practice, and stripping away the human aspects of what we as humans tend to layer on the stuff that we do. So that really sat well with me, and it resonated, and it has kind of freed up the mind chatter in my head as far as moving forward, practicing yoga. And if I practice Kundalini, I'll feel better about it, knowing that at the end of the day, it is truly what's at the center of your practice and how you move through your practice. So that I really, really just solidified with me and what I took away from Friday's speech or Friday's meeting. And it was really interesting to go through all the different kinds of forms of yoga and hatha, and how Krishnamacharya, what he created, and then just to see how over time all these little branches have just kind of trickled off into their own form. Like we said, the booty, the animal spirit, all these, I don't want to say weird, but all these just really interesting yoga practices, how they've just trickled down into their own kind of thing. It's really cool to see that. So let's see, as far as, I want to make sure that I've got everything that I want to speak on for the Friday. yoga and community, trust in all within our hatha practice, all the elements must coexist. So that's what I wrote down. So it is really the yoga and the community aspect, how we all spoke, that is such an important aspect of yoga. And that kind of circles back into, like Leah says, the guru thing, the yoga thing, and how we all need the community to be held accountable and to mirror each other, to be able to mirror each other, because you are only going to see one side. If you are not within a community, then that leaves no room for growth. And it's not beneficial to us, it's not beneficial to our soul, and it's not beneficial to yoga and its lineage, so to say. So I think that is what I would like to talk about. Let me see. You Are the Guru. That's another thing that came up. The Ram Dass song. I'll probably post that onto my my asana practice. I think I'm going to do that. So if you don't know that song, I'll post it on there. And stay aligned with your why of yoga. So that is the final thing I think that I talked about for the Friday, is really, through everything and what yoga has started as, and it's really being connected to yourself and to your higher power, for whatever that is, God, Jesus Christ. That is the heart of yoga, is really being able to connect in with your own self, with your breath, and with your higher power. So that is really what stuck with me for Friday. Now, I want to speak a little bit on the Nueces Brew yoga, which is what we moved on to later that evening. Really interesting was that, I was struggling during that practice, and that was the first time in a long time, I guess, since Kaizen said it kind of perfectly. We were holding these poses a little bit longer, so there was a little more teaching aspect in these poses, as opposed to a steady flow of a typical yoga practice. So even though every pose that I don't want to say every pose, but most poses that I was doing, I would notice that it was harder for me, or I was trembling, or whatever it was. I was able to convince myself and trust my mind and remind my mind that, you can do it. You can do hard things, or whatever it is. So it was really interesting, even though I would say I struggled. I didn't give up. If I needed a break, I took a break. But it really let me understand the power of the mind, and how you can flow through a practice, and how your breath can either help or hinder you. And I'll just say me. So ever since beginning, literally the moment I said yes to YTT, I've noticed how I have just grown my relationship with breath. And I always knew the importance of breath, because I've been doing breathwork practices for over 2 years now. So I've known of breathwork practices, and I've practiced yoga, but I think now reading about it and learning about it and just keeping it on my mind, it has allowed me to really understand and grasp, I don't want to say the severity, but just the power of the breath, and how it is so meaningful and intentional, and how it can work in your practice. I always thought I had to coordinate the breath and make sure that it lined up, as, in my practice. Although, yes, I should do that as far as being mindful of, coordinating, but more so it is now spiritually intentional, not so much okay, we're gonna breathe as we go up, Haley. It's more so of if my body wants to go slower, I'm gonna try to bring my breath slower. If it wants to be a snap, then it's gonna be an exhale of a snap kind of energy. So that's really cool, is that I've really picked up and honed in on my breath during this practice. And again, it's just a reminder of the things that I already knew in the back of my mind, how truly powerful our breath is. So that is kind of what our Friday looked like. now we'll move on to Saturday. Saturday was so amazing. So sunrise yoga, I think that's going to be my favorite part of YTT. Honestly, I mean, I don't want to like pin myself just yet, but sunrise yoga, I mean, I love being out in my backyard. I've been doing sunrise meditations or just sun salutations or just grounding practices in the morning in my backyard with the sunlight. I've been doing that for years. So to get to be able to do it in one of my favorite places, the beach, is just another layer of happiness. So I really appreciate that. Little side note first, I'm going to jump forward before I go back. How Leah and Kaizen spoke on like having to change last minute. Some things happened that we weren't expecting. The anticipated problem, you know. It was really cool to get to witness them kind of rearrange some things and, you know, let us know at the end of the day, like, hey, like this is what we're working with. We've got a pier in our view, but that's okay, you know. So they really didn't let us on in the energy of like, oh shoot, like we're gonna have to change some things. It didn't feel like a wah, you know. Can you pick up what I'm saying? Okay, so let's see. Okay, I wrote optimistic, excited, and optimistic and excited were what I was really feeling. It was really cool to be able to meditate by the beach with the ocean as the natural sound frequency healing. We all know, well, I guess I say I don't know, but the power of the ocean waves and the frequency that the ocean holds in itself is very, very healing. So it's cool to be able to Om in a group over the years in a yoga practice, and thanks to Leah, I have just enjoyed the transformation that I've personally have gotten to experience within Oming in a group. It's amazing. Ooh, one thing that I do remember, Leah was sitting behind me whenever we were Oming, and I don't really pay attention to my Om because I just allow it to be projected, and however it comes out is how it comes out. If it cracks or if it's longer than other people's, I just kind of let it do its thing. But what I did witness on whatever Om it was, I'm not sure if it was like the first, second, third, but in that Om, I felt Leah's Om being projected through me and through my heart, which was so freaking cool. It was fun. It was really, really cool to witness the energy that we were creating and the grounding practice that we were able to do. I truly respect that aspect of this YTT training. It is very much so grounded in light, and I love that Leah and Kaizen take the time to ground us into an intention. And I did ask that during the YTT, you know, do we have a grounding practice? Because I know personally, I like to ground in before doing anything, not like heavy, but like big. Whenever I set an intention to do something, or if I'm going to, you know, be working with energy or whatever it is, I really like to ground in first. So that's kind of why I asked if we had a grounding practice, because I know the amount of stuff that goes on within a big group. It's so important to ground our energy and our light first before we project or before we channel. So doing the Oming practice and meditating on the beach, sun gazing on the beach, that was a really nice way to ground our Saturday in and to begin that. So I didn't write anything down while we were at Kaizen's, I believe. Okay. Let me see. I'm trying to make sure. This is Saturday. Okay, yeah, so this is Saturday. No. Sunday, Saturday? Okay. No, this is Sunday. Okay. So before I wrap up Saturday, I want to make sure, I think I had an aha moment at Bubbles and Flow. Okay, so at Bubbles and Flow, I hit my microphone. I did remember in our practice, it was another one of those moments where I was doing a few of the asanas and I was witnessing how much I try and test my body. And the thing that helped was that, let me see. Pause.